que han acercado el arte a la gente a través de la...
Así es, Beca.
Creo que ya se nos acabó el
Pero
tiempo,
esperemos
¿no?
que próximamente
Así
en
es,
una
Beca.
futura transmisión puedas acompañarnos
Pero
para
esperemos que próximamente
hablar más sobre este tema tan
futura
interesante que nos
transmisión
estás
puedas
platicando,
acompañarnos para
hablar más sobre este
claro,
tema
a todos
tan
los talentos,
interesante que nos
gracias por
estás
estar
platicando
con nosotros.
Beca, recuérdanos tus redes
Y claro,
sociales
a todos los
para que
talentos,
todos te
gracias por
sigan
estar
y si
con
quieren saber más
nosotros.
sobre
Beca,
lo que
recuérdanos
tú
tus redes
hablas,
sociales
puedan
para
verlo.
que todos te sigan.
Claro,
Y si
sí,
quieren
a
saber
mí me
más
encuentran
sobre
como
lo que tú
@beca
hablas,
Duncan,
puedan verlo.
Beca es con B chica y
Claro,
K,
sí, a mí me encuentran como
@beca Duncan,
Beca es con B chica y
y me encuentran así en Twitter, Instagram, Facebook y también me encuentran así en Twitter, Instagram, Facebook y también me pueden encontrar en arte y de la historia, igual con mi nombre Beca Duncan. Ahí hago 2 proyectos de divulgación y se trata pues de contarles y de la historia que hice hoy, de la historia de un objeto y se trata pues de contarles un poquito como lo que
Perfecto, Beca. Muchas gracias por acompañarnos, por compartirnos tu tema.
Perfecto,
Y
Beca.
talentos
Muchas gracias por
permanezcan en la
acompañarnos,
transmisión.
por
Vamos por
compartirnos
nuestra
tu
última
tema.
conferencia con
Y
Adam
talentos
Savage. No se
permanezcan
vayan.
en la transmisión. Vamos por nuestra última conferencia con Adam Savage. No se vayan.
Regístrate sin costo en Cinépolis Click y por cada transacción que hagas te llevas una renta de regalo para que compartas más películas con quien tú quieras. La función...
En el canal Parlamento trabajamos para que estés bien informado del acontecer parlamentario y la actividad de los diputados, sus iniciativas, reformas, foros, debates y sesiones. Sintoniza Canal Parlamento en el 17.3 de televisión abierta y a través de todas nuestras plataformas.
En la web, Canal Parlamento de Jalisco. Facebook, Canal Parlamento de Jalisco. Twitter, @CongresoJal TV. YouTube, Canal Parlamento de Jalisco. Periscope, @CongresoJal TV. Instagram, @Canal Parlamento de Jalisco. O descargando en tu celular nuestra app, Congreso TV.
Estamos en todas partes, en todo momento. Canal Parlamento, la Cámara de la Gente, Congreso de Jalisco.
En el Congreso del Estado de Jalisco nos sentimos comprometidos con la transparencia para toda la ciudadanía. Es por eso que se creó Congreso Jalisco Abierto, una puerta para que consultes, conozcas y opines todos los procesos que se realizan en el legislativo. En este micrositio podrás revisar todas las leyes que existen, opinar acerca de las iniciativas y conocer toda la información relevante acerca de los procesos que acontecen en el Congreso. Solo tienes que suscribirte al tema que más te interese y te llegarán avisos cuando haya alguna actualización. Podrás visualizar las comisiones sin cortes y las sesiones completas, para que te mantengas al tanto de la aprobación de leyes, acuerdos legislativos y exhortos. Ingresa a congresoweb.congresojal.gov.mx/congreso-abierto/. El Congreso del Estado de Jalisco y Canal Parlamento transparentan los datos para que estés mejor informado. En Canal Parlamento queremos escucharte. Cuéntanos tus experiencias o vivencias ahora que estás en casa. Manda tu video a canalcongresodejalisco@gmail.com, donde nos muestres lo que estás haciendo en tu hogar. Tocar un instrumento, pintar, jugar con tu familia, aprender un idioma, cocinar. Recuerda grabarlo en horizontal y que no sea mayor a 5 minutos. Canal Parlamento del Congreso de Jalisco, la Cámara de la Gente. Si te gustan los libros, en Canal Parlamento queremos saber cuáles son tus favoritos. Participa realizando una pequeña grabación con tu celular y platícanos tu nombre, de dónde eres y recomiéndanos tu libro especial. Pon tu celular de manera horizontal y mándanos tu video a canalcongresodejalisco@gmail.com. No olvides buscarnos en nuestras redes sociales como Canal Parlamento de Jalisco y en televisión abierta por el 17.3. Canal Parlamento del Congreso de Jalisco, la Cámara de la Gente.
De una nueva empresa también que se llama M Robotics o Mayan Robotics aquí en San Diego. Y pues bueno, estamos aquí desde la comodidad de nuestras casas para entrevistar a Adam Sandler y bueno, espero lo disfruten. Hola Adam, how are you?
Very good, how are you?
Very well, thank you for asking. And I made a mistake, why is it Adam Sandler? It's Adam Savage, right? Or isn't it wrong?
No, that's okay. I'm a fan of Adam Sandler's as well. I don't mind being mistaken for him for a second.
All right, your mistake. Let me write it down. All right, well, thank you for joining us, and it's a pleasure for me. I wanted to tell you that I've been always your fans in Mythbusters, and I have this story that I saw you in person in Maker for up in San Francisco, because I recognize your face. As you know, I'm very bad with names. I can never remember. It's part of my geek brain. I don't know. But I recognize your face. I know who you are. I see you in the TV, and I didn't have the valor to go and ask you for your signature. I was so scared. But anyway, sorry about that.
I'm glad to finally meet you here, even if it's only on the camera.
All right. Well, you know, the situation here, everybody's at home, you know, for the COVID and the pandemic, and, you know, has been very difficult for everyone. But it's very cool to see people out there trying to make a difference from their homes, using their talents, their engineering skills, not even related to makers. But what you can tell us about it, what do you think?
I think this is an amazing moment in time for makers. It feels like all of the promise that has been building within the rapid prototyping and now rapid manufacturing tools like 3D printers and routers and laser cutters is finally meeting its moment. I think every maker in the world has the movie Apollo 13 in their head. When the crew says, you got to make an oxygen scrubber by fitting this circular thing into that square hole, and you only have these materials to do it. And right now, the whole world is in that situation where supply lines are breaking down. We're all supposed to be sheltering in place and meeting the needs we have in the spaces that we're confined to. And in addition, we have this across the world. Many first responders do not have the personal protection equipment that they need. And I'm looking at groups of makers across the world, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of 3D printers fired up in service of making face masks and clamps and other things for first responders to stay safe while they're fighting the pandemic. The level of community and open source sharing that's happening right now among the maker community is really it's thrilling, and it's exactly why I love the maker movement and why I've been a part of it since the beginning.
Exactly, and you know, not just the makers. You know, there is even companies. You know, big. You know, medical. Manufacturers, they are even opening the patents and their diagrams to the people that want to use them. It's impressive that it's not just the normal population, the normal makers that are from home, but also because of the emergency of the situation, very big companies are opening their information, so we can also grab it and be able to use it wherever we are.
And look, 100 years ago, your average person had to have tools in their house. They had to be able to fix the things that they had. And we have become such a consumer and a disposable consumerism culture that that doesn't happen. But I feel like there is a cultural shift towards coming back to that, where people really do see the utility of being able to maintain your equipment, of being able to, the amount of shop tools that a single 3D printer replaces is amazing.
Exactly. Well, absolutely. I mean, everyone, as after the boom of the 3D printing, many people they have it in their homes, and uh, I'm probably one of those persons that have one in my garage, and I probably use it once every 6 months. But now with this situation, it's like I'm firing it up. I have a cousin; she's a nurse in Phoenix, Arizona, and she wrote in Facebook, "Hey, anyone has a 3D printer? We need these little straps they use in the face mask behind to be able to keep the pressure." And they need it because it doesn't see. I mean, it doesn't look like, but the little straps here, they start rubbing into your ear and it hurts a lot. So she was, I need just this little tool to be able to work better, and that's all. And I said, okay, I have one. I can use. I print like, I don't know, 50 in less than an hour, and I just mail it over. So definitely, you can see now people even when this is the instruction, this is the infield you need to use, percentage, whatever, and just send information. Then all these makers start printing like crazy, and they just send all the parts to one central location, and they send it to the medical centers. I know this story from a state in Mexico, Nuevo León. They are doing that right now, and it's working very well. So well, they already have, like, I don't know, 20,000 masks, and they don't need it right now. Actually, I just have a conversation with them and say, hey, would you mind sending me some of them? Because right now here in my city, in Tijuana, we need them because we are a little bit ahead. And, I want to do the same call all the people from Tijuana and start building. And after the cure, we can send back this material back to Nuevo León or whatever state it needs it.
That's wonderful. We're in this time where science has been heavily politicized. And that's been very distressing to me as a science communicator. But in this moment, when lives are at stake, only facts are going to get us through. You can't disagree with the things that are life-saving. And so I really also appreciate at this moment in time the degree to which everyone is educating themselves about the science of viral transfer, of how to stay safe, of the great difficulties that first responders, doctors and nurses, police and fire and people on the front lines fighting this, the very specific concerns they have about wearability and comfort. The fact that we're all talking about that is a net positive for humanity, in my opinion.
Exactly. Well, doctors right now are having a very bad time. They're actually suffering. It's like a war zone. But I don't want to get into details. It's not about that. But also, it's the support they need. They need to feel protected, and they're wearing the right equipment to be able to work. Not 80%, 90%, be 100% there to be able to save life. Now that you mentioned this, it's funny. But 3 days ago, I'm here in my couch. I got infected already, like 15 times of COVID the last week because, it's all in my brain. You start like feeling you need to do something. You see the news, you see people and everything. And, I was talking to a friend and I said, we need to do something. We can just sit there. There is something we can definitely do. So I started 3 days ago. It's not ready yet. Setting up WordPress and all that is a mess. It took me like 3 hours to put an SSL certificate. Many years I haven't done it. Anyway, but I just put the page and I said, you know what? Let's call it respiramexico.org, which is Mexico Breathe. And start coordinated efforts, putting testimony from the doctors and to sympathize the people to be able to help, donate whatever they can and be able to gather it and do it in Tijuana. So it has been very successful. I haven't even released it officially. We already have donations. So it's what we're talking about this. And the next step now is to do the 3D printing and make a big call to all the people in Tijuana to be able to put their 3D printers and produce as many as possible.
Yeah, that is. I love hearing that kind of community, and I know that you believe deeply in open source and you put your whole thing into that as well. The sharing of this information the share the sharing of this information is the kind of thing that will get us out of this safely. As long as we as a community band together and understand what each other's needs are and are working to service each other's needs, that's what a community is. It is sad that it takes this kind of crisis for people to see just how far-ranging that community can be in helping. And yet I'm really glad that the maker movement is where it is in time and space to be able to participate in this. I go and read stories about makers doing this as a way of giving myself solace in the middle of the political stuff, which I find very stressful.
Exactly, and as a maker, this is our chance to prove we can do something. Now, I would like to talk about your book.
Okay.
Every tool is a hammer. Definitely, as a Mexican, I can let you know we lack many tools, and I have used,
A technical manual about shop practice, and then about halfway through the book, I realized I was telling a lot of personal stories about how I learned these pieces. And so the book ends up being about 1/3 autobiographical, 1/3 instructional, and 1/3 philosophical. Because I really believe that when we as people use our point of view to go out into the world and make something from nothing, whether it's a website or a mask or a table or a dress or a poem or a song, when we use our point of view to make something from nothing, we tap into the power of humans as explorers and inventors and sharers and storytellers of information. And that power is real. And what it gives us as makers, as humans, as partners and fathers and sons, mothers and daughters, is what makes us people. I think humans are storytellers and we're tool makers. And so I talk a lot about that in the book. I will tell you, we made the New York Times bestseller list. The book has been selling very well in the U.S. And one fan even took the book, infused it with epoxy resin, and he turned my book into a hammer. And this hammer made of micarta actually sits in my hammer rack, and I used it last week to tap something in.
Nice. We have an algebra book called Baldor in Mexico. We can also use it as a hammer. Amazing. Nice. Awesome. And I guess I will say that some makers were a little bit stubborn. And I was making my first, based on what you just told me, I was making the first drone. Basically, it was an airplane, robotic airplane. That's what I used to call it before. And people will say like, no, dude, you need, super sophisticated mechanical gyros or laser rings to be able to know the orientation, stuff like that. And I say like, yes, but it's not about that. It's not about solving the problem or if I can do it or not. I want to do it. I want you to be able to do it and discover by myself and bust the myth that is possible or not with the tools that I have. Yeah. So it's very cool that you mentioned it's like philosophical, it's like an entertainment, it's the human curiosity about doing something and see if it works. You want to try yourself.
Well, and the thing that you said, a lot of people ask me, how do I get started making stuff? And I say, find something that you have to have. Whether it's a shelf in your house or an addition to a kitchen tool that you use all the time that doesn't quite work right, when you are trying to solve a problem for yourself is the moment at which you will have the biggest investment of your brain and your heart in the thing that you are making. And that's what you did, and what you found, I'm sure, is that at a certain point, the expertise that other people had didn't matter in the execution that you went through to make the thing that you wanted to make for yourself, right? The amount that you learn, the amount that you embed, you realize at a certain point that you actually have something to contribute to the idea of this thing. And that's real. Like every time we delve into making something, we're contributing something to the world, to our culture, to our community.
Exactly. And actually, moving a little bit about your book, can I ask you, what is the best project or the project that you most enjoy in your life? Tell me something you have done maybe when you were a kid that you constructed or you built that you remember, oh my God, I had so a good time doing that.
Yeah. So I was about 15. I'd been making paper models and stuff from I've been making my own toys for years, but I was about 15 years old, and I decided I wanted to make a cardboard man to sit in front of my house. I don't know why, but I did. So I took a bunch of cardboard boxes and I took some tape and I made this man, and he was full-sized, and it's not a beautiful construction, but it was exactly what I wanted. And I was in the middle of making it. It took me about probably 4 or 5 hours. And I was in what I now see and realize was a kind of a flow state. I was just in that zone of like the dance between the maker and the material. And I remember pausing because I realized how deeply satisfying and creatively invigorating this was. And I went over to my mom, who was in the kitchen, and I said, "Hey, Mom, I just want you to know at this moment, I think I'm truly happy." And I also understood that as a temporal thing. I understood that that wasn't permanent. Like, now I'm a happy guy. And it wasn't that I was an unhappy guy, but the amount of creative pleasure that I got out of that moment really taught me so much about what I was seeking from the execution of things that were in my head and making them in the physical world. And that might be one of the more important little maker experiences I've ever had. And I still have that feeling frequently here in the shop, that feeling of the flow state, of everything's kind of clicking along, and I am at the bench and the bench is at me, and we are together in achieving this thing.
It becomes addictive, and that feeling when you finally make it to work and it finally works and you spend hours trying to figure out what's going on and you are like, yes, yes. That feeling is very addictive. Well,
but in order to get to that, there's plenty of failures along the way, right? There's always like, I can't believe I screwed up.
And you realize it's something silly. All right. Well, Adam, we have to go, but can I ask you a last question?
Absolutely.
Do you speak Spanish?
I don't speak Spanish. It's terrible. I live in a very Spanish-speaking city in a Spanish-speaking neighborhood, the Mission District in San Francisco, and I like a typical American. I only speak one language.
Well, we can teach at least one word. Gracias.
Okay, go.
Which means thank you. Gracias.
Gracias. Gracias.
Muchísimas gracias por tu atención. Thank you very much for your attention and being with us. It was a pleasure to talk to you. And hopefully next time I'm going to have the dealer to ask for your signature. I see you in San Francisco.
Jordi, next time you're in San Francisco, reach out. I invite you to the cave and come and hang out, and I'll buy you lunch.
Wow, that's wow, yeah, that will be the dreamers maker.
That would be great.
All right, thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
No quiero oír tu voz, no quiero tocar tu piel, quiero saborear tu silencio y acariciar tu distancia.